Here's an idea. The distinction between being a troll and being a bigot is eroding. For pretty much as long as there has been internet, there have been people who make it their business to get in other people's business on it, whose activities range in severity from easily ignored mates posting great bait in comment threads to perpetrators of actual, unignorable, life upending harassment. We did a video a while back on the complications that arise when you confuse those two groups. This video is about that same confusion from a different perspective. Of course, there have been trolls since long before the internet. We just didn't call them trolls. We called them what they were: jerks, racists, scoundrels, other things I can't say because Idea Channel is shown in a lot of classrooms. As Letters of Note has demonstrated though, harassing people using communication technology isn't new. And of course, neither is being a rabble-rouser. Trolls of yore were jesters, troublemakers, or tricksters if their capers were harmless, entertaining, or desirable. Puck symbolizes the classic shrewd rapscallion who may cause trouble, but hey, it's all in good fun, right? Often this brand of literature-inspired mischief is equated with cleverness and therefore value. An effective troublemaker teaches us something about the world, though they may also get your head a bit hot, oh you. At one point, this was the self-styled battle cry of the internet troll. Prefiguring and eventually explicitly channeling Heath Ledger's Joker, they'd rally around the concept of, "Why so serious? You mad, bro? It's the internet, log off whenever you want," lulz production. Trolls would post inane nonsense, but never seriously. They don't mean what they argue. They only want to get a reaction, or so the defense of them went. And so if you met that deception with earnestness, you'd lose a conversational game you didn't know you were playing. The troll's defense was that they keep stupid people busy so they don't ruin the internet for everyone else. They spotlight hypocrisy and distract irksome internet folk by being disingenuous, rhetorical sparring partners. The subtext being that it's beneficial to assume all contrarians aren't earnest. Dismissing rejoinders as bait saves the potential embarrassment of having fed the trolls. You can't lose a game if you don't play it. This suggests that the ideal mode of internet interaction is a kind of idle, ironic detachment. Trolls, along with their adherents, fancied themselves a public service for heralding this suggestion. They'd function as a ubiquitous reminder that it's a bad idea to take the internet and people on it seriously. Except the internet is serious. It isn't some separate, not real life place, but an integral technological process intertwined with most parts of our real lives. Ironic detachment would have to be a lifestyle, not a mode of interaction, if one were to treat the internet in aggregate and always as lol not serious. Many people don't have that inclination or that privilege. Add to this the fact that the troll horde found under the internet bridge has diversified, mostly thanks to how internet troublemakers are popularly described. At one point, the perception amongst, let's be honest, probably largely homogenous internet communities, ones that fancied themselves people who get the internet, was that trolls were troublemakers in jest only. Trolls were regarded by this memerati as altruistic transgressors of social norms, reminding everyone that nothing is serious, that propriety is a construct, and we shouldn't be so sure of consensus. And the memerati was in a position to suggest, oh no, that's just how the internet is. That's just the way it is. This seeded the damaging idea that certain forms of argument and even harassment are an unavoidable part of the internet ecosystem. And now the people who drive Leslie Jones off Twitter, who encourage bullying, who make it their mandate to tirelessly harass and stalk bloggers, artists, celebrities, and other public figures, they are also called trolls by journalists, media figures, tech companies. In popular terms, there's a waning distinction between troll and hateful person with an internet connection. And maybe there never was a distinction. Recently, I've seen people sharing Kurt Vonnegut's sentiment from Mother Night, that we are what we pretend to be, so we must be careful about what we pretend to be. This aligns with the Sartre and Merleau-Ponty that we've discussed in the past, that one cannot escape being how they are viewed by others. In this view, separation between some troll's fake racism, for instance, and their actual beliefs is nothing more than a tool of self-preservation, allowing a kind of psychic distance and therefore permission to be awful. From the outside, the difference between a racist and a troll who says racist things has only ever been informed by the fact that trolls have claimed there is a difference. Because lols, for some reason. The common sense response to the classic troll, that they aren't serious, that you shouldn't feed them, just ignore them, that's bad advice to begin with, source, but also increasingly deployed as a tactic for dealing not with individuals, but masses of people who are not, or at least not so clearly, the type of troll that advice addresses. People who gang up to harass private and public figures for their politics, who deal in neo-Nazi rhetoric, are virulently Islamophobic, among countless other afflictions, and who consistently brigade against not only those with whom they disagree, but also those people's friends, family, co-workers, and bosses. Whether any single member of the horde truly believes the vile nonsense they spew, or individually means whatever outcome their rat king of reprobates causes, is beside the point when the result of their collective action is so material. When they threaten people's jobs, safety, or family, drive them off social media, and inspire actual talking points delivered or spread by 4 real candidates for the United States presidency. I'm not advocating for a return to the halcyon days where trolls were alleged pretend bigots acting individually, but I am advocating for something. That those in a position to guide widespread public understanding of the internet and its communities say what they mean and mean what they say when discussing what was recently dubbed the culture of hate online. Racists, misogynists, and xenophobes who use the internet aren't just trolls. They're racists, misogynists, and xenophobes who use the internet. And where the distinction is unclear, I would ask that we judge what exactly is gained by giving hateful speech a pass under the overly broad banner of tricksterism. And if they haven't already, at this point some internet tough guys who are quick to judge others for overreacting or revving up their free speech engines or getting upset because they think I told them they can't say things they don't believe even if it's just a joke. So allow me to take this moment to direct them to 2 videos with my thoughts on those very matters, videos I am sure they will watch and whose points they will faithfully engage with. Calling rampant hatefulness trolling suggests it's a quaint internet problem solvable by focusing on your real life instead of your online one, a division which is only ever increasingly false. It separates toxic ideas into 2 categories, internet and real, and assists awful people in distancing themselves from the result of their harmful actions because they happen to be using technology. It takes responsibility for dealing with those people out of the hands of websites, apps, technology products, and law enforcement, and gives it to the people being harassed, the very people who shouldn't have to have it. Whitney Phillips, a personal friend of mine and someone who literally wrote the book on trolling, describes the trolling frame, liberally applied, as an ethical escape hatch, looping one back to the rationale that if someone takes offense to an offensive statement, that's on them. To dismiss online harassment unilaterally as just trolling normalizes hate and encourages an unlikely social dystopia defined by an idle, ironic detachment arrived at on the terms of harassers. It eschews earnestness, compassion, and a humanity that even the most strident free speech internet zones would benefit from. That is, of course, unless their expressed purpose is to generate hate and harassment specifically, but I'm sure that that is not the case. What position trolls once popularly occupied in the internet rhetoric food chain has popularly, I think, been overtaken by exactly what trolls pretended to be: jerks. And worse, actual abusers. And whether that position has been overtaken in actuality or simply in effect is immaterial. For much of the internet, a troll is a hateful person, and a hateful person is a troll. There is no distinction, and perhaps there shouldn't be. Some among us may mourn the demise of the shrewd internet rapscallion, the service provided by a disingenuous rhetorical sparring partner, or the nuance of how their presence is appraised. But in that, we may also learn that Vonnegut had a point, that one becomes what one pretends, if not themselves, then maybe in the eyes of others. And that transformation is not without consequence. What do y'all think? I'm not gonna ask whether or not the classic troll still exists. It definitely does. I'm curious about the relationship between trolls, bigots, and bigots who are popularly called and understood as trolls, which is a thing that happens. You can't argue that it doesn't. I'm also curious how this conversation relates to the United States government calling armies of people in the employ of intelligence agencies of other countries spreading misinformation about the United States trolls. How does that fit into this conversation? Let us know respectfully in the comments, and I will respond to some of them, probably respectfully, in next week's comment response video. In this week's comment response video, we talk about your thoughts regarding Facebook trending news and the bias of algorithms. If you want to watch that one, you can click here or find a link in the doobly-doo. If you happen to be in or around New York City tomorrow night on Thursday night at the YouTube space, we're doing a PBS Digital Studios Nerd Night where you can come and see me, Joe from It's Okay to Be Smart, Vanessa from Braincraft, Anna from Gross Science, and a bunch of other people talk about some nerdy things. We'll put a link to that in the doobly-doo. That is a free event. It is also 18+. And also we're gonna be taking next week off. So the next Idea Channel upload you will see will be on the week of October 3rd. We have a Facebook, an IRC, and a subreddit, links in the doobly-doo as well. And this week's Tweet of the Week comes from Sam Cook, who points us towards a New Yorker article about a woman who has amassed an impressive collection of what you could, I guess, call photographic portraits of her taken by scores of world famous photographers. She approaches them and asks them to take photos of her. It's super interesting. I know it doesn't sound like it is, but it's a really great read that gets into all of this territory about what it means to be a subject and creativity, and it's really good. Highly recommended. By the way, just in case you're reading it at work or on your phone at school, there's some nudity. It's artful though. And last but certainly not least, this week's episode would not have been possible or good without the very hard work of these shrewd rapscallions.